Alright, so first, where does the name of the band Rome come from?
Jerome. That's it.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
There's gonna be nice girls walking around here all the time, I bet.
Cut that out, he has a family.
I didn't say anything.
No. Video edited.
How do you compose your songs?
On the guitar? No, it's yeah, I usually start out with the guitar. Yeah, just play around with the guitar. And then I usually have a couple of lines in my head, vocal lines, vocal melodies, and I just keep on adding stuff. So I usually start with the guitar. Sometimes I start with samples that I add stuff on, but for the most part it's guitar stuff.
Okay. And someone asked if you know music theory and if you use it?
No. I'd like to use it, but I don't know. I've never studied music. I will start to do that at some point when I run out of resources, but so far, no. No idea. Hi, mate. You're on camera. No, it's I just I do what I've always done. I started out in punk bands with very simple song structures, and over the years I learned a couple more chords, but that's it. It's very, very simple what I do.
Okay. Is there a main theme in your music, and does it differ from album to album, for example?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably because it's always me writing the stuff. I guess there's some underlying themes or some recurrent things that you will probably always find on the Rome record, but I try to get some sort of new thing going for every album with related to the theme I choose. So yeah, I try to come up with new perspectives, new. I read a lot. That helps. You know, just try to find a new voice for every record. But I guess in the end, it all sounds the same. That's fine.
Concerning now your inspiration. Growing up, what bands or musical artists did you listen to?
A lot of bands. I still like to discover new stuff. It gets harder by the day to find really stuff that changes you. Because obviously you always come back to the things you listened to as a kid, or when you were much younger than I am now. But I don't know. I started out with the loud sort of stuff, you know. Metal and punk rock, all the kinds of music that set you apart from everybody else. You know, like, look at this weird guy. You know, that sort of. I always like that music where you just alienate yourself.
Which one of these bands still inspire you today?
I don't know. I guess some artists like Leonard Cohen. That's a name I mentioned several times, just because he was important for me as a songwriter in the beginning. I'm talking when I was like 10 years old, because he was like the first voice I heard. I always tell the story, but it might be boring to some, but it's very true for me that was a crucial point in my biography. It was traveling around in a car through Europe with my father, who was a director. He did theatre work, and that work kind of meant that he had a regular job too. He couldn't afford to just do theatre, but on the weekends or on vacations we would always travel around and be at those theatre festivals around Europe, and while we were traveling he would listen to records, you know, in his car, and one of the things he listened to was Leonard Cohen, and I was kind of struck by that because I was intrigued by the voice and by the lyrics. I didn't understand a word of English then.
Could you repeat the name of the band?
Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen.
Singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen.
Okay.
Yeah. He's still touring actually. I just saw him for the first time in my life. I saw him last year. His tour. It's a lot of fun.
So since you was 10, you was
yeah. I mean,
you were already
yeah. I mean, I heard him for the first time when I was 10, and it just stuck. You know, it just made sense to me. It was very intriguing to me, and I wanted to find out about that sort of music. But then I went on. You know, I was a kid. You know, I listened to a lot of other stuff. You know, like I said, you know, punk rock and hardcore, and I was in the punk scene. I was in all kinds of scenes throughout my life. So yeah, but it's something that kind of stayed with me for a long time, and I went back to listening to that sort of stuff. But now I hardly listen to him anymore because I know his songs by heart.
Yeah.
So, but that's probably, you can still find traces of his work in mine. Yes, because you know we're all influenced by a lot of people. I don't want to really talk too much about what I'm listening to now because you know that might give away some things that I'm you know trying to get at in the future.
Okay. Are you also inspired by visual artists?
You mean as in paintings and stuff?
It's, in general, yeah.
Well, there's hardly any painter I really like, or that I like all of his work. I mean, regularly there's a painter that I see his work and I think, oh, that's good, and there's a couple of paintings I like, but it's never been inspiring to me yet. But well, to me it's always been books and movies too.
Okay.
Movies, I really like movies, but you know, sometimes there's a movie that triggers something, and then I go to the library and try and find something about it.
To find the book which was adapted in movie?
No, more like, you know, I see a movie and if it's a good movie, it kind of takes you by the balls and leads you to this other place. And this other place is made of music and made of images and all that sort of stuff. So I go to the library and find the stuff that makes that imagery, you know. So it's not about the movie itself, but maybe about the setting of the movie and just the feel of it, you know. And you find that in literature because usually that's where those guys took it from. So.
Okay. Can you give us some example of the movie that really strikes you?
I know there's a couple of good ones. Before Nightfall was one of the last ones to really inspire me. That I liked. Oh yeah, the best movie ever made, There Will Be Blood. Best movie ever made. Yeah, stuff like that. You know, that just yeah, kind of takes you to this other place. There's too many to mention. I mean, a lot of movies.
Okay. Now concerning the new albums, first, where was it produced and by who was it produced?
Well, I produced it myself, but it was recorded here in Belgium.
Okay.
I basically lived here for a year doing that because 3 albums, and I didn't record them in one go. I took a lot of time off between, so I would on and off. I would work here. And I was very lucky that the studio I worked at was in the countryside, and it had an apartment right above the studio. Well, apartments, but overstating it, but a place I could sleep with a kitchen. Very important, very important. And so yeah, I could basically just live there. And every morning I would go downstairs and work, and then in the evening I would go out.
Okay.
So that was nice. And it was a guy called Duke Baudouin, a guy I worked with about 15 years ago. For the first time when I was in a punk band, we would come to Brussels and record. And when I moved out of Germany 2 years ago, I just I changed my whole team. I changed all of my surroundings. So I need to do that regularly. Usually, after about like 5 or 6 years, I just have to get out and do something else. And so I called up all these people I remembered from the old days, and just trying to find a studio to work in. I called him up and said, "Yeah, well, I'm not in Brussels anymore. I moved to the country, but I got this great analog mixing desk now. It's really rock and roll. So okay, I'll try that out. No, it worked very nice. So yeah, that's where it was. In the countryside, it's just like a peaceful, quiet, simple life. I like that. It's very inspiring to me too.
Did you take some West, or was it 100% album only?
That's the same to me, actually. I mean, I enjoy the work.
Okay.
I don't take any time off, really. I mean, it happens that I do go on vacations or whatever you want to call it. But that's just, when I just go to a city for a couple of days to check that out and just get some rest in some hotel. But then again, that's also part of the creative process of just,
slow down.
And to get the brain working again. I don't do that many concerts. That's where I take the breaks.
Okay.
Financially speaking, I should do a lot more concerts because that's where the money is. I mean, nobody's making any money with records, so I should be doing concerts. But I just like the work so much that I don't really care about the money in that way. As long as there's enough money coming in to finance the production. It's not that I don't like playing live. I've come to enjoy it now with the new band. It's really a lot of fun. So it's really cool, actually. I'm at a place in my life. It's the first time in my life that I'm really, well, not the very first time. I mean, I did look forward to playing live when I was 13, but ever since then it was sort of downhill with motivational, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of it's not travel as such. You're just rushing from one place to the next, and it's all the. I mean, I've been into so many nice cities and I've never seen them, because you just go to the hotel, do your sound check, you play the show, and then there's. I mean, this is great, doing an interview in an actual city. I get to see some of it, So I do a lot of traveling on my own time, without the band.
Okay. What will be in the books that come with the new albums?
The booklets?
Yeah.
The lyrics? Wait, I don't get that question.
The theme, the images.
Sorry, yeah.
The bonus, maybe.
You mean like what's the theme of the record?
Yeah.
Well, like for this trilogy, I did a lot of research for Flowers from Exile a couple of years ago, and I found so much stuff that I decided, I was doing research on the Spanish Civil War and the exile and all that sort of stuff, and I came across many things that were related to France and the exile and the political struggle there and all that sort of stuff, and I decided, okay, this is too much for one record. I'll do another separate record for that. That was Nos Chants Perdus. But then after doing that, I still felt like I hadn't touched on a sort of an underlying theme, some essence that was going on beyond it all, and I wanted to find out about that. And it took 3 albums to get to the core of it. Okay. That's why there's 3 albums. It's about. It's in some ways the most political stuff I've ever made. Although I don't want Rome to be seen as a political band, but I have to face the fact that it is quite political. It's about the European left in the first half of the 20th century, and what choices they made, and the life they chose, all that sort of stuff. So, but it's not related to a specific moment in time, but it's more like trying to describe a certain character, a mindset. It's really hard to describe, and actually the fact that it is so hard to describe, that made me do it, because I think you, as a writer, you need a challenge. You need the feeling of not being able to do it, in order to get you started. Because if it's just easy, anybody can do it. You need something like, this is not going to work. You need that feeling.
Someone thought that it was about anarchy, and
I never used that word.
Your opinion about anarchy.
Who said that?
I don't know. I didn't write the name.
Well, whoever said that is right. Although I try never to use that word, because that word has got so many weird connotations and so many. Yeah, I mean, it's just if you use that word anarchy, it's like there's too many people who've kind of misrepresented that, and that's also what this thing is about. Is to get to the core of that sort of it's a weird sense of generosity that I found fascinating. Just the idea of thinking in a different way, thinking in a way that's not related to money. It sounds very simple and overly simple, but it's true. And I found people like that who would never call themselves anarchists or anything like that, but who just had this generosity that, to me, seemed it was so inspiring. It was something that I found in my family too. You know, going back to the Spanish roots that that I sang about on Flowers, and there was still this underlying theme, as I said. So yeah, it's about that. It's about ideas, about struggles, and I say ideas. I don't say ideology, and I say freedom. I don't say anarchy. You know, it's that sort of thinking, because those people didn't know what other people would do to their way of thinking. You know, it wasn't for them. It wasn't an ideology. It was a way of life. It was. They shared a deep respect with each other for the things they liked, they cherished, be that their own country or be that their family, whatever. It was just, yeah, it's hard to describe. I tried to describe it on this record, and that's actually what the record starts out with. This voice speaking, basically that whatever you're looking for is quite hard to grasp. And that's what intrigued me too. I want to grasp it. I'm not saying that I succeeded in it, but it was certainly very interesting to do.
Okay. Can you tell us more about the soundtrack and movie you mentioned on Facebook?
Yeah, well, I just I need to pay the bills. So
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. The studio bills, Gavin. No, it's just I don't know really how that went, but there was as far as that's how I've been told the story. There was a member of a film crew who knew Rome, and they were in Luxembourg and looking for somebody. And then somebody said, "Well, I think this guy Rome, I think he's from Luxembourg." And so somebody contacted me about this movie, and if I would be interested in doing the music for it. And so I read the script and watched the movie. I really liked it, so that's how that happened. And it was a great ride. Ending in Paris, doing the mixing of the songs I recorded. But it's not really songs; it's soundtrack music.
Okay.
It's not really related to what I do with Rome. I try to serve the film. It's not. I did the music, but it's not me who's speaking. It's in the language of the film. It's not Rome.
Is that your voice or
no? It's not my voice,
okay.
No. That didn't fit.
Okay.
It was just no, it didn't fit. It's just the music. It's different, yeah. And I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun to do that, and to be actually able to work in a high-end studio. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I was scared walking in there, thinking, what the hell am I doing here? Because the mixing desk is just as big as like the control rooms I used to work in, by themselves.
I remember the picture you posted.
It's quite, I need to show off. It was really, really great. The engineer I worked with, Stéphane Lévy, great guy. He's done a lot of pop work. And I walked in the studio and there was all these gold records, all of that sort of stuff on the walls from all these people, like French singers, and I knew all the names. It's not my kind of music, but it was quite impressive.
Yeah.
So I was working there with guys who used to working with people like Sting, or it's really the big names, and so that was a lot of fun. Also, hearing some of the gossip, and no, it was, yeah. Even if it was just for that, it was well worth it.
And could you give us some hints about the movie, the plot?
It's not my place to do that. I mean, it's they're still in post-production right now.
Okay.
So I know. Well, maybe there are some people who will want to see the film because I did the music. Maybe not. But it's really, you know, I worked for the movie, so it's possibly not something every Rome fan should listen to, but I like it. The label likes it too, so we were trying to get it out on CD, but that's tricky. We'll see. But I forget what the question was.
The question was some hints about the plot.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
No. It's about a father-son relation, and there's a crime happening and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't think I should reveal more now. I mean, because maybe they will start the promotion in the way that they want to do. I don't know what they plan, so it's not my place.
Okay, let's go for the personal questions. What languages do you speak fluently?
I speak, well, my mother tongue is Luxembourgish.
Like what?
And then I speak French.
Oh, very well.
English, German. Yeah, a bit of Spanish, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a Spanish speaker, not at all. But I do understand Spanish, and I do understand Italian. Well, one of these days I'm going to learn those languages too, because I really love them.
Okay.
But no, that's it.
And how did you learn them? With travels?
Oh, just no. I'm from Luxembourg, so we're it's part of our education. It's not that I'm so clever. Everybody from Luxembourg is that clever. You know, everybody can learn as many languages as they want as long as it starts early. And so I started speaking French when I was like 8.
Okay.
And German too, and then English came later. Like, I think it was 13 or something. Started that. But I lived in Germany for almost 10 years, and I lived in England for a while, so that helped. It's always easier if you live somewhere.
Yeah.
And French, French is always. I spent a lot of time in Belgium, French-speaking part, I guess, more than the other part. That just because it's closer. Because I grew up like 2 miles away from the Belgian border, and 5 miles away from the French border. So you know, there's a lot of French-speaking people around where I lived as a kid. So so language is always around.
And you would like to learn another languages?
Yeah, I'd like to. First of all, Italian. It's just something I'm interested in.
It's close to Spanish.
Yeah. I did some Spanish at school, but that's like the school Spanish, you know. It's not really. I mean, you can order pizza or whatever, but or paella, but that's it, you know. But yeah, I'm because I dealt with a lot of Spanish stuff recently, so I'm more inclined to go for the things I'm not really familiar with. Yeah.
Okay, so